1. SpaceX crew final preparations for historic mission launch. 2. NASA's Crew 11 launch set for July 31st, docking at ISS after AX-4 departure. 3. Crew 11 launch. NASA and JAXA astronauts prepare for ISS mission. 4. NASA's SpaceX Crew 11, pioneering health studies for deep space travel. 5. NASA and SpaceX Crew 11 launch. Meet the astronauts heading to the ISS July 31st. 1. SpaceX Crew final preparations for historic mission launch. Buckle up. SpaceX is about to make headlines again as its latest crew gears up for another ambitious mission into the cosmos. The final preparations are underway, and anticipation is running high not only among the astronauts but also across the global community watching their every move. So, what sets this launch apart from the countless missions before it? Here's where things get exciting. This crew isn't just embarking on a routine journey. Every step they're taking is part of a carefully choreographed dance that involves weeks of simulation, rigorous equipment checks, and the kind of teamwork that could make or break the entire mission. More importantly, as technology continues to evolve at lightning speed, even the smallest updates to the spacecraft or crew protocol could have huge implications for future space exploration. But this is also the part where opinions start to diverge. Some say SpaceX's rapid pace and unconventional methods are rewriting the rulebook on human spaceflight for the better. Others worry that pushing boundaries too quickly could compromise safety. What do you think? Is innovation in space travel best fueled by bold risk-takers, or should caution always come first? As the countdown ticks closer to launch, all eyes remain on the crew's readiness and the mission's potential impact. Will their work pave the way for deeper exploration of our solar system, or is there a critical lesson waiting to be learned from the unprecedented challenges they face? Share your thoughts below. Should space missions prioritize speed and innovation, or stick to tried-and-true approaches to safety? 2. NASA's Crew 11 launch set for July 31st, docking at ISS after AX-4 departure. Imagine a world where space travel is as routine as flying from New York to Los Angeles. While we're not quite there yet, NASA is making significant strides in that direction. But here's where it gets interesting. The International Space Station, a symbol of global cooperation and scientific progress, is currently facing a parking dilemma. With the private Axiom Space AX-4 mission still docked at the station, NASA's next commercial crew program launch, Crew 11, is waiting in the wings for a parking spot to become available. And this is the part most people miss. The station can only accommodate 2 of SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft at a time. As a result, the Crew 11 launch, which could take place as early as July 31st, is contingent upon the AX-4 mission's departure, currently scheduled for next week. The AX-4 mission, which arrived at the station 2 weeks ago, will depart as early as Monday, paving the way for the Crew 11 launch. But what's really exciting about this mission is the fact that it will be carried out by SpaceX's Crew Dragon Endeavour, a spacecraft that has already flown 5 times and is now set to break its own record with a 6th launch. For those who may not be familiar with the Crew Dragon spacecraft, it's a human-rated vehicle designed to carry astronauts to and from the International Space Station. The Endeavour, in particular, has a rich history, having first flown the Demo 2 mission in May 2020, which marked the return of US-based launches for astronauts following the retirement of the Space Shuttle program in 2011. Since then, it has flown several high-profile missions, including Crew 2, Axiom 1, Crew 6, and Crew 8, carrying a total of 18 crew members from 8 countries to space. But here's the controversy. Some experts have raised concerns about the long-term viability of reusing spacecraft like the Crew Dragon Endeavour. While NASA and SpaceX have worked tirelessly to recertify the vehicle for additional flights, some argue that the risks associated with reusing spacecraft outweigh the benefits. And this is where things get really interesting. The Crew 11 mission will be crewed by 4 astronauts, including NASA's Zena Cardman and Mike Finke, JXA's Kimia Yui, and Roscosmos's Oleg Platonov. Cardman, a rookie astronaut, will command the mission, while Finke, a veteran of 3 previous spaceflights, will be making his 4th launch to space. But what's really notable about this crew is the fact that they've been training together since September of last year, despite having previously been assigned to different missions. As Cardman noted, "We've been training together since roughly September of last year. We were all in the unique position of actually training with previous crew assignments. What that has meant for us is an incredible bond that is rooted in gratitude and resilience." The Crew 11 mission is expected to last for at least 6 months, during which time the astronauts will conduct a range of scientific experiments and maintenance tasks on the station. And as they embark on their journey, they'll be marking a major milestone: 25 years of continuous human presence on the International Space Station. As NASA's Bill Spech noted, "We've really done an amazing amount of work advancing scientific knowledge, demonstrating new technologies, and really doing all of the things that help prepare us for human exploration of the Moon and Mars." But here's the question: what do you think is the most significant challenge facing the Crew 11 mission? Is it the technical complexities of launching and docking a spacecraft, or is it something more intangible, like the psychological effects of long-term space travel? Let us know in the comments. As we look to the future of space travel, one thing is clear: the success of missions like Crew 11 will be crucial in paving the way for humanity's next great leap into the unknown. 3. Crew 11 launch. NASA and JAXA astronauts prepare for ISS mission. NASA has updated the launch date for the next crew launch to the International Space Station, ISS. Liftoff of the Crew 11 mission is now scheduled for 12:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 16:09 Universal Time Coordinated, on July 31st from Launch Complex 39A, LC-39A, at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. With their launch now fast approaching, the crew is discussing their upcoming 6-month mission to the ISS. Crew 11 will be 2 NASA astronauts, one from the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, and one cosmonaut from Roscosmos. The commander and pilot are NASA astronauts Zener Cardman and Mike Finke, respectively. Kimir Yui of JAXA and Oleg Platonov of Roscosmos will serve as mission specialists. Cardman will be making her first flight into space, although nearly a year after she was originally scheduled to. She was bumped from the Crew 9 launch along with fellow astronaut Stephanie Wilson to allow for 2 empty seats that would later be used to bring back NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams from the ISS. They remained on the station for an extended mission after their Boeing Starliner capsule was deorbited without them due to safety concerns. "This is something we train for, we're ready for as astronauts, and most important to me was ensuring the safety of the mission," Cardman said in an interview with NSF. "That's the only promise I really had for Crew 9. That's all that matters at the end of the day. And even though I had so many personal hopes for the mission, I couldn't imagine not being there for their training, for their launch, and then when they returned home to Ellington." Crew 11 Commander Zener Cardman poses for a photo. Credit: NASA JSC. She was still able to take part in the mission through the official NASA launch webcast. "There was no other possible option, and for a while, when we thought I would be launching with Alex, Gerbunov, Nick, Haig, had offered to support as the launch broadcast host," Cardman said. "So it was really an honor and a no-brainer for me to offer the same for them. And it was such a treat to get to be there and see them lift off." Even though she had already trained as the Crew 9 commander for 18 months, she still went through training all over again for Crew 11. For the Dragon training specifically, even though that spacecraft is now very familiar to me, I really felt it was important to go through that training with my Crew 11 crew, Cardman said. "It's not only about the technical side of things or learning the procedures or learning the systems, it's about how you work together as a team." Pilot Mike Finke had to train for an entirely different vehicle. He was originally slated to fly on the Starliner 1 mission, but following the issues with the crew flight test mission last year, it was decided he would instead fly to the station on Dragon. I'm still a Starliner fan, but it was a change to go from all the terminology and the acronyms and the systems of one spacecraft and move over to another one pretty quickly, Finke recalled. Now, fortunately, I had been working with the commercial crew program since like 2013. I helped Doug, Hurley, and Bob Behenken get close to DM2, and then I went over to work with Starliner. So I wasn't completely a noob to Dragon or how SpaceX does things, but it did take a bit of focus to make the transition. Mike previously spent expeditions 9 and 18 aboard the station before spending 2 weeks aboard the ISS on STS-134, the final flight of Space Shuttle Endeavour. Mike Finke training inside a Dragon capsule. Credit: SpaceX. My first mission there were 2 people, second mission there were 3 of us at any one time, and now we're gonna have a 7-person crew, Finke said, comparing his past flights to the ISS. So, how to get along with so many brothers and sisters, that's gonna be interesting. As mentioned, this flight will use Crew Dragon Endeavour, which is named in honor of Space Shuttle Endeavour. Finke was asked which of the 2 vehicles he's flown on with that name he prefers. I'm very partial to Shuttle Endeavour, but I'm just getting to know Dragon Endeavour. We just got to see it last week down in Florida, and I'm starting to really like it, Finke said. So ask me when we get back, but at this point, there's an ex-girlfriend and a new girlfriend if you want to look at it that way. Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, astronaut Kimya Yui will make his second trip to space after flying aboard the Russian Soyuz vehicle in 2015. When comparing training for Dragon and training for Soyuz, he noted that the experience was very different. In Russia, in Soyuz, we still have a very traditional training education system, Yui said. So, for example, if we have some need to learn how a microwave works in Russia, you would be taught the physics of how a microwave works or something like that. But in the United States, you just press this button and just set timers. JAXA astronaut Kimya Yui poses for a photo prior to launch. Credit: NASA JSC. He will join the current ISS commander and fellow JAXA astronaut classmate Takuya Onishi. They plan to do research together, but Yui definitely wants to prove himself. He actually set the hurdle very high for me. So I just want to work very hard to overcome his abilities, that way the ground team would be impressed by me, Yui said. And he also wanted to show the world the unity happening aboard the ISS between several countries. Yui also hopes to send a lot of positive messages to the people, not only in Japan, but all over the world. The ISS is a good example of unity and how we can do good things by cooperating with each other. This all comes as the ISS nears its planned deorbiting in 2030. Finke says the calls for deorbiting the science lab early are unwarranted. If we were to give up our beautiful International Space Station, let's make sure we have something else and not a gap, Finke said. So these commercial low Earth orbit and private space stations, I'm looking forward to those being up. It just makes a lot of sense to have that capability before we deorbit the ISS. 4. NASA's SpaceX Crew 11, pioneering health studies for deep space travel. NASA's Crew 11 mission is set to uncover critical insights into how astronauts will survive deep space travel, starting with a 4-person team launching later this summer to the International Space Station. This mission isn't just about reaching orbit, it's a vital step toward preparing for the challenges of exploring the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Some crew members have volunteered to participate in groundbreaking research designed to tackle health risks astronauts might face during long-duration space missions, including those under NASA's Artemis program and future Mars expeditions. At the heart of Crew 11 is a series of experiments aimed at understanding how the human body adapts to extreme environments. One key study involves simulating lunar landings, which will test how astronauts manage gravitational changes. Using advanced technology, crew members will practice navigating scenarios resembling the Moon's South Pole region, a destination central to Artemis plans. This experiment is crucial because even though modern spacecraft often rely on automation, astronauts still need to monitor systems and take control when necessary. As neuroscientist Scott Wood explains, our goal is to ensure astronauts can handle any gravitational shift, whether it's the moon's weaker pull or Mars' stronger gravity. But here's where it gets controversial. Some experts argue that prolonged exposure to microgravity could disrupt the body's natural balance, increasing disorientation risks. To address this, a ground-based team will perform the same tasks to compare how gravity affects human performance. The results could shape training programs for future missions, helping astronauts adapt to any planetary environment. Another major focus is combating spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome, SANS, a condition linked to fluid shifts in microgravity. Researchers will investigate how B vitamins influence the body's response to these shifts, testing whether supplements can alleviate symptoms. Crew members will also wear thigh cuffs to prevent fluids from pooling in the head, a strategy inspired by real-world medical practices. These studies highlight the delicate balance between science and practicality in space exploration. Beyond SANS, Crew 11 will conduct the CIPHER experiment, a comprehensive assessment of how the human body changes in space. This includes vision tests, MRI scans, and other medical evaluations to track long-term effects. The mission also collects biological samples, such as blood and urine, for genetic studies that reveal how spaceflight alters DNA. Volunteers will test different exercise routines to determine what physical activities remain essential for long missions. And this is the part most people miss. After landing, crew members will complete surveys to document injuries from re-entry. This data could revolutionize spacecraft design, ensuring safer returns for future missions. The mission's broader goal is clear: to innovate ways to keep astronauts healthy and mission-ready as NASA pushes humanity further into the cosmos. As we look ahead, one question remains: will the lessons from Crew 11 lead to safer, more efficient space travel? Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is the biggest challenge for deep space missions? 5. NASA and SpaceX Crew 11 launch. Meet the astronauts heading to the ISS July 31st. Humanity's next giant leap in orbital teamwork is happening this month, but the real story lies in the unprecedented details behind this mission. NASA and SpaceX have officially locked in July 31st for their Crew 11 astronaut launch to the International Space Station, marking a pivotal moment in reusable spacecraft history. Here's what makes this orbital journey extraordinary, and why space enthusiasts should be buzzing with questions. A Falcon 9 rocket roaring to life at Kennedy Space Center's LC-39A will carry more than just 4 astronauts. It's launching a record-breaking spacecraft on its 6th crewed mission. The Crew Dragon Endeavour, now upgraded with next-generation parachute systems, represents SpaceX's most experienced human-rated capsule. But here's the twist: this veteran spacecraft will face its longest-ever orbital rendezvous while carrying 2 spaceflight rookies alongside seasoned astronauts. Meet the history-making crew: NASA's Zener Cardman, Mission Commander, and Oleg Platonov, Roscosmos, prepare for their Virgin spaceflight, while JAXA's Kimir Yui, 2nd flight, and NASA's Mike Finkey, 4th mission, 382 cumulative space days, bring crucial experience. This international team embodies the ISS's collaborative spirit, but here's what most people don't realize: their mission timeline was dramatically accelerated by 2 weeks to accommodate a groundbreaking orbital maintenance operation. Controversy alert: the schedule shuffle sparks crucial questions about ISS operations. By moving Crew 11's launch forward, NASA enables a prototype altitude correction system on SpaceX's CRS-33 cargo mission, essentially testing whether commercial spacecraft can help maintain, and eventually deorbit, the aging station. But does this compressed timeline introduce unnecessary risks? Some experts argue. Invitation to comment: do you think prioritizing new capabilities over traditional timelines is wise? Sound off below. A Falcon 9 booster, B-1094, flying this mission isn't fresh off the factory floor either. It's a flight-proven veteran of 2 prior missions, including June's private Ax-4 astronaut launch. Meanwhile, Crew Dragon Endeavour Sports upgraded Drogue 3.1 parachutes with reinforced materials and smarter deployment sequencing, safety enhancements first proven on cargo missions. This spacecraft has already transported 18 astronauts from 8 nations, reveals SpaceX's Sarah Walker, emphasizing its role in restoring U.S. crewed launch capabilities after the shuttle era. Here's where it gets strategically fascinating. The Crew 11 astronauts will arrive just as the station prepares for its 25th anniversary of continuous human habitation on November 2nd. Their 6-month mission overlaps with a traffic jam of incoming spacecraft, including Northrop Grumman's Cygnus, JXA's HTVX, and a Soyuz crew rotation. But the real headline? Their 39-hour orbital rendezvous sets a new Crew Dragon duration record, pushing the limits of onboard life support systems. That 40-hour window isn't a hard deadline, explains Commander Cardman, but crucial for maintaining safety margins during approach. Space veterans will appreciate the operational ballet. Before Crew 11 docks on August 3rd, the station must first bid farewell to Axiom's private astronauts and the outgoing Crew 10 team. This carefully choreographed sequence makes room for critical demonstrations of US-built altitude control systems, a capability currently reliant on Russian Progress spacecraft. Multiple reboost methods are essential as we maximize our limited launch resources, stresses NASA's Bill Spetch, hinting at the station's eventual retirement plans. For the rookie astronauts, the mission offers life-changing perspectives. I've trained for every procedure, Cardman shares, but nothing prepares you for the emotional impact of seeing Earth from space. Veteran Finke anticipates capturing his crewmates or that moment when new astronauts first see our planet, how it never gets old. Their daily routine? A surreal mix of cutting-edge science, world-class physics experiments, orbital plumbing, toilet repairs, and biological monitoring, all while preparing humanity for future Moon and Mars missions. Food for thought. As NASA's Artemis program eyes lunar bases, does maintaining the ISS until 2030 still make strategic sense? With international tensions affecting space partnerships, can this model of U.S. Russia-Japan collaboration survive another decade? We want your take. Is the ISS's legacy worth extending, or should resources shift to newer projects? Mark your calendars for the July 31st liftoff, 12:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and August 3rd docking, but stay tuned for deeper discussions. Will this mission's parachute upgrades and extended rendezvous time become new standards? How might the altitude control tests shape future deorbiting plans? One thing's certain, as Crew 11's mixed experience crew embodies past achievements and future ambitions, they're writing the playbook for humanity's next era in space. Final engagement hook. Scroll down to debate our burning question. Should NASA prioritize maintaining the ISS or fast-track its replacement? Let's get cosmic in the comments.